Thomas, and this is Riley.
Hello.
Today we've got some NHS people. Tell us about yourself.
Okay.
So I'm Alex. I work for the NHS, the part of the commissioning board who basically pay for all the NHS services. I work in the communications and marketing team, so we manage all the social media, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that stuff. And also we do some website stuff as well.
Okay, I'm Melanie. I'm a project officer for Humber North Yorkshire ICB. My role is to promote vacancies working in health care.
And I'm Mark, and I'm Head of Social Marketing and Insight at the ICB, working Alex's team. And I suppose to summarise as easily as possible, I think social marketing is really, really important if we're to change behaviours in communities and make communities, our wonderfully diverse communities across Humber and North Yorkshire, as healthy as possible if we're going to relieve the NHS of all the pressures that we see every day.
How did you get your job at the NHS?
So I was a journalist first and foremost, which I loved, absolutely loved. Worked for some really good papers, but then my little girl was born, and I used to do really long hours over in Nottingham, and I live in Lincoln. So I was missing out on her sort of upbringing really for those first few months. So decided to take what I thought was going to be an easier job in the NHS, which was really local. Just for the benefit of my family really to start with. And I actually didn't think I'd last 10 minutes because in the NHS there's all sorts of policies and protocols, plans and processes, which is not exactly me, but then actually over a period of time I just fell in love with it really, and the difference we can make, as I was saying earlier, with communities and on people's health is really, really important. So that's how I got into the NHS.
Yeah, so for myself, I have wanted to get into the NHS for a long time, and I found myself out of work after COVID, and one day my phone rang and it was an agency saying, would you like to go and work at the health place in Brigg as a secretary? So yeah, I sort of grabbed that and went off and did that for a year. My background was PAing and event work. And then that job came to an end, and then I just applied for this role when it came up. I went for it and got it.
So yeah, mine was by total luck, to be honest. When I graduated university, obviously I needed money, so that all I was doing was just applying for any job possible. Didn't matter where it was, shops, offices, whatever. Eventually, rather than having to move back in with my parents, which would have been fine, but I was enjoying living out after university. I wanted money. I wanted to buy a flat or get a flat, rent a flat, whatever. So I got a job in the local council, and it was actually in the council tax department. I did that for about a year and a half, and it was one of the worst jobs you could ever ask for. Boring, people shouting at you down the phone all day, all that stuff. I did do a journalism degree, so there was always a part of it that I still want to work in the media. But honestly, after that, I thought I've lost that experience, a year and a half of my life just doing a job that I hate. But luckily, the council sort of got a contract where they offered 3 days a week to go and do some social media work for the NHS, who were like working with the council at the time. So I took like literally a half pay cut just to take the chance of going, I'm going to do it. Literally just doing a few tweets and Facebook posts for the NHS for like a couple of days a week. And then finally they offered me a full-time position. And then from then I've just sort of continued to progress and develop through.
So what's your favourite part about the job?
Oh, this is tough. There's probably two elements. So there are really frustrating days in the NHS, as I alluded to earlier. But overall, the good days outweigh the bad days. And when I say bad days, they're just frustrating when you get to the end of the day and you have to make peace with sometimes you've taken 2 steps back, which sounds ridiculous, but you've taken those 2 steps back. And I've worked this out, that later in the week you then take the 3 steps forward and you've made your progress. Sometimes you have to go backwards before going forwards, and you have to make peace with that. But the good days are when you directly see the impact you're having on members of the public and their health. So we've got real health inequalities at the moment across Humber and North Yorkshire. Areas of deprivation. They're simply not as they're not leading healthy lives like they are in other parts of the patch. And when you see the difference our work can make, those social marketing campaigns, whether it's through social media or sometimes I'm a fan of old school conversations in community, so actually physically going out to whether it's mosques or gurdwaras, children's centres, whatever it may be, and speaking to people about their behaviours is really, really important to me. Obviously, money's good and it pays bills and you can do things with it. That's important too. But without that genuine feeling of making a difference, I wouldn't still be in the job, and we definitely do that. And the other part, and I'm going to keep singing these praises, but it is working with people like Alex in terms of remember that. A little bit less, and Melanie, obviously. But with someone like Alex, he's just, I'd say, remember the name Alex Flowers. When you see people coming through the ranks like he is, who throws himself into absolutely everything. Even this is a brilliant thing to do, but he's travelled 750 miles. That's an exaggeration. He's travelled a long way to be here.
Through the night.
And going back to that
work
ethic. But just going back to that hard work ethic, he doesn't shirk anything, and seeing people develop. So I used to be really, when I was 21, 22, any sort of success I had in my career, I started when I was 24, 25, I suppose, in my actual career. Any sort of success, I was really big-headed, and then you realise you just can't be like that, and you mature a little bit. And now it's all about seeing people like Alex and other people in the team who are developing every single day, and will go on to really, really big things. And I really enjoy that.
I think it's about enjoying what you do as well. There's nothing worse than you alarm going off at 7 a.m. and thinking, I've got to go to work again. And I think, us three sort of, we're not sort of in that boat. And I think when I go to the careers fairs, that's what I say to the students that I see. Get something that you're interested in. There's, like I say, 400 roles, whatever hobby you've got, whether it be music or drama or anything like that. You can be a therapist, so we can, sort of suit whatever your hobbies are. But for my role, I'm going to be real square now. I'm just going to say I like everything about my role, which is actually quite true because, I have had previous jobs that I didn't, but I must admit I sort of enjoy everything. I'm a bit of a dinosaur now, so I'm not such a spring chicken anymore. But Alex, I work with Alex and we work together with the social media. So I'm learning new skills about, TikTok and Instagram, and we do LinkedIn. We do webinars and things like that. So these are all really, new skills for me to learn. And that's the thing with working for the HMYICB is that there is always training to do if you want to do that. And, you can have time off to do that. Another part of my role is quite rewarding. Like I said earlier, I go to the careers fairs, meet with other students over Humber in North Yorkshire. So it's great to speak to them and sort of give them some guidance as to what they might want to do in the future. Hopefully matching up with their interests that they have out of school. So, yeah, everything really.
I think, yeah, absolutely. The people is a massive part of it. We've got about 600 staff working for us at the moment. And we do, part of our role is not just to support the community and stuff, but actually to support our own staff as well. We're massive on our own staff, making sure their well-being's good. And like I say, with the amount of staff that we've got, you get to meet people at loads of different events and things, and everyone's just so nice. Specifically, we're lucky in the communications function that we've got basically every single member of the team's really unique but really, really lovely people. And I think that's the most important thing. Yes, like Mark said, getting paid well is good. I don't even get paid that well, by the way. But like, I've got a good enough wage to like pay the bills and do things that I enjoy. But I don't know if you need to watch a film called Office Space, where basically it's just about a guy who has a tedious 9-to-5 job, has to go there every single day. His alarm goes off and he dreads every single day. And he said a quote where he said, every single day is worse than the one before. And I think you couldn't pay me any money, £200,000-300,000 to do anything like that ever again. So yeah, the people are important. Enjoying your job is obviously massively important. And I think with my role, I love social media anyway. I do TikTok in my free time as well for my own personal stuff. But having the freedom to do stuff like that, actually looking at something saying, we need to help people with this certain topic or subject, or there's a lot of people going to this hospital, so we need to sort this out. Being free and creative with what we do. Finding some cool people to speak to, making sure that we're making an impact online. And we're really starting to do that at the moment. And just seeing those results and seeing how many views we're getting and engagements and stuff, just makes it all worthwhile. And I think that creative aspect is definitely the favourite part of my job, but also meeting all the cool people as well. So yeah, absolutely love the job, and hope long may it continue.
Off-topic question: what is your favourite movie?
This is a weird one because I love classic films, Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, all that sort of stuff. My favourite film is actually a film called 500 Days of Summer. It's got Joseph Gordon-Levitt in, and it's a fantastic film. It's just about two people's relationship over 500 days on and off, but it's in like a completely different order. I'd really recommend it. It's an absolutely phenomenal film. Came out in like 2012, 2013, but it's just like so well shot and just so well made. Excellent film. You've got to watch it.
You got one?
I've got one, yeah.
I don't really watch that many films, actually. I'm more of a documentary person, so I like things... I like to watch murder programmes and things like that because I just find them really interesting. So, yeah, I'd say anything to do with sort of, real-life documentaries and on certain people as well. So, yeah, that's a film buff.
Yeah, so I don't really get a lot of time to watch films now, but so previously, Rocky 3, without a shadow of a doubt. Which probably shows my age a little bit, but yeah.
What do you like to do free time outside of work? Like, I don't know.
I like to relax.
Yeah. I think doing nothing is underrated, to be honest. Just sitting watching the telly. But I do play. I play 5-a-side twice a week, and then I do a 6-a-side league on a Tuesday night. So tonight, actually, I'm playing. But I love that. And I make TikToks as well. I love making my own TikToks. But I'm also an avid PlayStation player, to the pain of my girlfriend. But yeah.
Favourite game?
God of War is the best game ever made. Oh, I love The Last of Us as well. But I'm playing God of War at the moment, and I'll play a lot of Call of Duty as well, and FIFA, obviously. As I call it, FC now. But yeah, just I love that. I love gaming. I love playing football, and I love making TikToks. It's so much fun. So yeah.
I have got a bit of a random one, actually. So I like vintage stuff, like vintage and retro houseware. So I'll go raking around car boots sometimes if I've got some spare time. And I have appeared on Dickinson's Real Deal lately.
Wow.
On TV.
Wow.
So I bought some Chanel perfume bottles, and I took them on, and I got some money for them. So yeah.
But they were empty?
Pardon?
They were empty?
Yeah, they were empty, yeah. But there was old ex-display bottles.
Oh, so you just put them up like on your mantle and stuff?
Yeah.
All right.
Just decorative.
Okay.
So yeah, I like to rake around car boots on the weekend.
Yeah, that's cool. So I think this sort of thing's really important for your mental health, taking a bit of time for yourself. So I've got a couple of side hustles in the background, one of which is I do a bit of personal training for people. I take boxing classes for children, which I really, really love, and my little girl goes to that as well. Basically, my granddad was amazing at boxing. He was a champion in the Navy. My dad was average, and I was. Can I say crap? I've said it. And I was crap, but I really enjoy the fitness side of it. So I do a lot of that. Currently training, as these guys know, for a marathon, which is why I'm walking about like I'm 75. It's really, really hard. But yeah, and I like to read. I try and read as much as I possibly can because I spend a lot of time on that otherwise, whether it's work, just life. So I try and read as much as I can and stay active.
So do you think staying off your phone is probably the best option when you're on free time?
I found if you're struggling to sleep at any point, actually reading before bed instead of like scrolling through endless TikTok, because it's an unlimited cycle essentially. Yeah. How the algorithms work, your For You will just continue to show you exactly what you want to see to make you not switch off your phone. And then when you look at your screen time, you've got hours every day that have just gone.
Yeah.
From basically nothing.
What's your average hours at the moment, Alex?
It's not great, to be honest. But obviously, I'm on my phone for work doing TikToks and stuff, so that adds to it. But yeah, in the night, I could spend a good few hours on TikTok, YouTube, whatever, watching stuff. But I think
about 4 or 5.
Yeah, thinking about that as well. But reading is good. It depends on like what sort of stuff. I read a lot of Stephen King. I love Stephen King. He's a fantastic author. Does a broad range of stuff, so there's probably something for everyone in there. But yeah, I think it is important. Obviously, your phone's great for socialising and finding stuff, and you could probably find, I mean, we do a lot of work, so we want people on the phones a bit, because otherwise you're not going to see our stuff. But there is other ways to see stuff, which is why we do resources in other ways, print stuff out. We've put stuff on bus stuff, we've put stuff on buses before, so there's other ways to advertise things that aren't just on your phone. But yeah, it's good to have that time away, whether it's just 10-15 minutes, go for a walk or do some exercise or something, and then you'll feel the benefit of it massively.
It's really difficult because I totally get what you're saying. It's it's very easy to slip into, and there's so much in terms of my apps. I can do my, you guys know, banking, emails. There's the NHS app, so you can sort your health out on there. You can do everything on a phone now. So it is difficult, but it's very, as Alex says, very easy to slip into your personal time and 2 hours. And the thing is, what I tend to find, I might be doing some online banking or something, and then because work's on there as well, I'm well outside of hours, and you can end up doing then an hour's work on top of that. And actually, I don't think the long-term effects of that are brilliant, but it is very difficult because it's so convenient, isn't it? There's so much on there. So,
how long have you been working in your role for?
I've been in the NHS for 9 years, 10 years in November.
How did your role sort of develop when you first went into?
So when I first came in, I was an engagement officer, and as I say, that was just after my little girl Betty was born. And then I became, within 6 months, I was got a promotion to communications manager, and then went for a completely wild job in North Lincolnshire, head of communications and engagement. And here's probably another tip, really, I suppose. And I had in my head no chance of getting it. It was one of them where you just shoot for the stars. And somehow I just performed really well over an hour and got the job, and was, for the first few weeks, definitely out of my depth in the job. But you work hard and you find a way to make it work. Then we've become a new organisation in the last 2.5 years, the ICB, and now doing social marketing and insight, which is just brilliant, as I say, because you can see that direct impact you're having on the communities.
I think 6 or 7 years, I can't remember exactly, but so I started as like a communications assistant. As I say, I was only 3 days a week to begin with, and then sort of moved up to what was called a communications officer, through like restructures and all this other stuff, and now I do like digital and social media stuff. So I have gradually progressed through the pay scale and through all that stuff. But again, you've just got to have the confidence to apply. A lot of the roles do pop up internally, so if you like where you work, if you wait it out, there'll be something that'll pop up that you can do, and it will continue to happen, whether it's because someone leaves or just because they create a new role based on demand. So I've always been confident to go for the roles. I haven't got every single one that I've went for, it's not going to happen, but it's just having that confidence, and I think that's helped me progress. And as you progress, you can obviously earn more money, build that experience to then have a better chance if you ever did want to move on to somewhere else. You've got the experience to do that.
You're not allowed to move on, Alex.
Yeah.
You've absolutely got to stay
I'm not
now.
planning on doing it anytime soon, but I think if you've got a job where you're comfortable, then that's I think the most important thing about an organisation is to keep the staff that are there, because if you're just constantly getting new people in, you've got to retrain them. They've got to get to know everyone again, build that relationship. You're better off keeping the staff that you've got. So you've got to give people incentives to stay, which is why certainly in our team we are trying to give people progressional opportunities. So whether it's training outside, so that I've just done my first aid training. I actually did a course last year on like health conditions and stuff to learn a little bit more about that. So they offer you stuff to keep you there, and I think that's important. But then obviously you do want to progress. So luckily they have always given me that opportunity to progress through the pay scales and progress through the roles. So yeah, I have no plans to move on because I know that will continue.
God. I think that's the thing, that people say there's no job for life anymore, but I think the good thing about working in health and social care and with the HMI ICB is that you could be anything you wanted to be. If you was doing sort of my job and then you thought, oh, actually, I'm going to be a paramedic, you can, reverse your career, retrain and go in a completely different area to what you came with. So there's no sort of boredom or, there's always those opportunities to go somewhere else or do something else.
So have you always wanted to do what you're doing now?
So my background is always been a supporting role, been a personal assistant, executive assistant, but I also worked in recruitment, which I enjoyed. But I think this role just suits my background and the skills that I've gathered over the 30 odd years I've been working. So it's sort of bringing everything, all my skills sort of together in one role. You're out and about, every day is different. One day I could be in Scarborough, the next day in Grimsby. We've got an education bus at the moment that's going to be driving around schools. So I'm going to be on that, and we have things like virtual reality headsets where the students can visually be a paramedic on that patient pathway. and lots of other examples. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just a good all-round job that, you know, it's not boring. You've got loads of good people around you, loads of support, and everyone's, you know, willing to help you to sort of reach that target all together, really, as a team.
I think for me, I had absolutely no idea I'd be working in the NHS. It wasn't like I set out to do that. As I said, I wanted to do radio. I was on the student radio station for a while, and I also did like a freelance one day a week at a local radio station somewhere in Darlington. And I'd still love to be on radio, but it's almost impossible now. It's such a competitive field.
Hospital radio.
There is hospital radio, which I could do. But unfortunately, I don't think the local hospitals near where I live actually have one, or at least it's not one that's available. I'm looking more for Radio 1 or 2, to be honest. But I don't regret it at all. It's been fantastic. But as I say, had no idea. I kind of just fell into the role and then started to enjoy it and progress from there. I don't think anyone really knows, because you could think this job's going to be amazing and then get there and go, actually, it's really not, because of pressures or just because of the people that you're with. So no, I didn't. I had absolutely no idea I'd be here. So yeah.
No, in a word. But I'm glad. I'm really glad I did. So I always wanted to be a sports journalist, and I was lucky to get that as my first. I guess in my career, I suppose I had lots of jobs before. While I was travelling, Magaluf and Ibiza and places like that. I was really lucky to start off. And again, people kept telling me you don't. No one starts in sports journalism. You become a journalist, and then you might become a sports journalist because everyone wants to be in it. And again, I don't know if this is good advice or not, but you'll get a lot of that as you get older and older. People saying you can't do this, you can't do that. 99% of the time it's nonsense. You do what you want to do. If you work hard, you'll absolutely get there. So started in sports journalism, and actually really appreciative of the way it's kind of worked out, in terms of then settling down with a family and then coming into the NHS, because I think journalism really sets you up for life. It's hard. Like there's we don't really have this in the NHS now, but you get 14, 15, 16 deadlines a day in journalism. So that's obviously really, really demanding. And speaking to people that are having the privilege to speak to people that are like really famous, I think has really helped me in terms of, you could put me in a room with a CEO of an organisation and I feel really comfortable, because if you've interviewed, like David Beckham, for example, I've interviewed David Beckham, or Boris Johnson, two completely different people there, but Martin Johnson, Johnny Wilkinson, people like that, and that was really hard to start with, because you get nervous before you get that kind of, they're stars at the end of the day, but the more you do it, I can remember Roy Keane. I was really nervous before Roy Keane for obvious reasons. I thought if I asked the wrong question, he's definitely going to punch me. He didn't. He was lovely in the end, and I was young at the time. I can't remember what age, and you build that confidence, and I think it really sets you up. Journalism, definitely, if anyone's interested in doing that. But yeah.
I think the thing with our roles as well is that you do sometimes get thrown curveballs and get to do things that you think, how am I going to do this? But that's part of you sort of growing and learning within your own career. It might be a bit panicky at the start to think, like the podcast, for example. Yeah. But you just do it, and then you gain more sort of confidence, and you know what you're doing, and that's all about you sort of growing and learning and. Yeah, going forward, really, isn't it? But you do get a lot of opportunities working in the NHS to do lots of different things.
Well, I've always had a desire to be a football journalist.
So okay.
I want to know how to actually properly get into it.
Yeah, we can have a chat afterwards if there's a lot of it is contacts.
Yeah. And
as soon as you get that first opportunity, don't let go of it. No. But it's brilliant. It's some of my, and I absolutely love being in the NHS. By the way, I'm really, really lucky. As Melanie's saying, there's opportunities and. There's lots and lots of really, really good days, and I work with a great team. And as Alex was saying earlier, the people are everything. But that sports journalism, when you're travelling the country, different football stadiums, speaking to managers afterwards, absolutely brilliant.
And I think a lot of the clubs now have social media representations. And my friend actually does the social media for Sunderland Football Club. But it's just doing the TikToks and stuff. But they have so many staff working on that. And think of how many clubs are in the UK teams. All of
All right, so we're back. So as we was on with football questions, what's your favourite football team?
I'm from Durham, so I'm a Newcastle fan. So yeah, we've just won the cup. But no, I've been a fan for a long time. My dad's actually a Sunderland fan. He used to have a season ticket at Sunderland when I was a kid. But all of my friends were Newcastle fans. I sort of just transitioned. Like, it's where we live. My parents live is kind of in the middle anyway, so it's not like I'm glory hunting or anything. Also, Sunderland did used to be probably the better team. But yeah, I've been a Newcastle fan for like 20 years now. Used to go to the games all the time. Yeah, I love them. So.
In other words, you started following them in like the last 10 days since they won a trophy.
A lot of people have. I did find it cringe that they were a little bit that. Obviously, yeah, it's a good achievement. They hadn't won a trophy for like 70 years or whatever. But they did like it was like a local pub in Newcastle. They did like a parade thing in there, and I was like, for a League Cup, it seems a bit much. It's not the Champions League, but it's an achievement nonetheless. And you know that maybe they'll get European football again this season. It's going to be tough, but the confidence that they'll get from that win might just get them over the line to get 6th, 5th potentially.
Who's your favourite player?
Isak, no problem. Or Dan Burn, obviously, but I think Isak is like our best player by an absolute mile. I think he's just showing levels that we haven't had up front for years. Genuinely, since Alan Shearer, I don't think we've had a prolific striker that's that good. We've had like Papi Cisse, Demba like Remy, all good one season though. Whereas Isak's been consistent now 2 years. Whether we keep him or not, I don't know. But obviously we've got quite an influx of money at Newcastle. So in terms of wages, I think it won't be a problem. It's just whether he'd want to play or live in London, where so he's likely to go to Chelsea or Arsenal.
Or Palace.
That is possible. That's what like people think. Obviously, Palace being like a mid-table team, but the players get to live and the manager's in London, which for them is a lot more appealing. Like Newcastle, obviously, is a nice city and everything, but for a millionaire, you want like London is probably where you want to be, isn't it? Or even like Liverpool or Midlands, where that you're just going to get nicer accommodation, and it's probably better for your kids to go to school and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But if you love the club, then that's kind of why people say, like, if you look at Jamie Vardy, like he could have lived or played anywhere at one point, but he decided not to just because love for the club, which I absolutely respect that.
Myself, okay.
Yeah.
Has anyone heard of the Zebras?
Zebras.
Who?
The Zebras. Yes.
Well done.
So I'm keeping it local because I used to live just down the road from Brigtown Football Club, and I still take my mum sometimes on a Saturday because she supports them. So yeah, doing all right actually, but I think they've gone off.
Are they like National League or
gone
something?
off. Pardon?
Are they National League or something like that?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah, a couple of leagues like that.
I have no idea.
Right, moving on swiftly after Crystal Palace, as you know, born and raised in South East London, so local team. And I'm in that weird vibe at the moment where obviously we're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We've never won anything, and it's that little H word called hope that tends to kill me every few years. But yeah, hopefully we can win the cup. Favourite player is Adam Wharton. He's going to go on to massive things. He's a world class.
I thought he was going to say Mateta.
I do love Boom Boom Mateta. Yeah, I do love Mateta.
Can't stand that.
No, more recently he's definitely came in for. But Adam Wharton's going to be class. I mean, even for England and stuff like that, he's going to be mint. So
we obviously had Michael Elise that is starting to prove he's world class level, and I think Adam Wharton's the other one.
What is it?
Love him. He's brilliant, and obviously scored last night. But I think he's inconsistent.
Yeah.
He probably plays really well 3 out of every 5, and then the other 2 you don't recognise him. So, but yeah, I mean he's still a very good player, and we'll miss him when he goes, probably in the summer.
Well, obviously, I'm a Green Town fan and a Leeds United fan.
Really?
So everyone hates Leeds, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also see the word hope this year because we could get the playoffs. Maybe Town.
not could, I think.
You're top, aren't you?
Who, Town?
Oh, sorry.
Leeds.
Yeah. You've got Colchester tonight.
Friday night.
Friday.
Leeds are like
That's a tough one.
going to just bottle it again, which I just hope they don't, because everyone's going to start chanting Leeds are falling apart again, which is the worst thing ever. But we could see in the Premier League again, wouldn't it, Leeds? Do you think?
I like Leeds in the Premier League. Yeah.
I think Northern clubs is better. Like Sunderland, obviously a lot of my friends are Sunderland fans. They've got a chance this season as well. They're like 4th, I think. They were like top for a while and then they fell off a little bit. But having those, there's two. I know Palace are one of them, but there's too many southern teams. Just like there's not enough northern teams, like the derbies and stuff like that. Like, and also the travelling for the players and the fans. Like, it's just a lot. It's like there's so many teams down south where there's not enough northern teams in there. So like getting the Newcastle Sunderland derby back, or Middlesbrough or whatever in Leeds, it'll just be a bit more fun, I think.
And just on Grimsby, JB in our team is a season ticket holder at Blundell Park, and he predicted at the start of the season that he'd have a really good season. So I just hope you can, obviously with the Cowleys at Colchester will be interesting on Friday, but I think if you can not lose that, you should make the play. I think you deserve it, to be honest.
Yeah,
over the course of the season.
I think we're the top 3 teams in the league to win the most games all year. Considering last year we was 23rd all year.
Yeah. So, it's massive progress.
But I've been supporting them for like 9 years season ticket holder now.
Yeah.
And I've just seen nothing but terrible football all the time. So it'd be good to see them go to League One.
When I did the football journalism, I did Grimsby a few times, and I think it was feel like it was Forest Green, and it was 0-0, and it was pouring down the rain, and it was genuinely the worst game of football I've ever covered. But yeah, I've got a soft spot for Grimsby because of JB in the team. But
You got any questions, Tom?
No. I like football.
Well, we'll move on to music then. What's your favourite music taste?
So it's such a random difference, but my 2 favourite artists of all time, one's Oasis, just because I think they're the best band of all time, and then the second one's Kanye West. I think he's probably the best musician ever, producer, rapper, whatever you want to say. Personality wise, okay, yeah, but yeah, he's made some of the best songs ever for me. But yeah, Oasis are probably like inherently my favourite band of all time, and I am going to see them this year. Set me back nearly £200, but hopefully it'll be worth it.
Have you watched Sam Fender?
Yeah, I love Sam Fender. I saw him actually at Scarborough Open Air Theatre. That was like 2 years ago, kind of when he's just released his first album. So there was only like 5,000 or 6,000 people there, and he was absolutely class. I couldn't get tickets for the St James's Part 1, but he will be touring again, so I'll definitely go. He's absolutely class. He's got a new album obviously coming out.
What was the last gig you went to?
I can't even remember now.
About you?
Post Malone, I think at Leeds.
Oasis.
Work at events and sell the merchandise on the stalls. I think it must have been Manchester, and there was an Oasis gig there, and all the fans trashed the merchandise stand in the middle of the football ground. Just knocked it all over.
Yeah, it's going to be a mental gig, I think.
It was pinching all the merchandise and stuff.
Yeah, I do like Oasis. What's your favourite song from Oasis?
Our Talk Tonight. It's probably the best song ever. One of the best songs ever written. Yeah, I mean they've got so many good songs. Maybe the last 2 albums weren't as good, but I think they just had those peak years, sort of 3 or 4 years, where they were just the best band in the UK. There's probably better bands in terms of out there like the Beatles or Pink Floyd, whatever. But I think Oasis just for the UK, and just like they've just got so many hits, and I just love them.
And you have tickets?
Yes, I've got tickets. Yeah, I've seen Noel Gallagher by himself with the High Flying Birds, and he was good, really good. And they do some of the Oasis stuff. And to be fair, High Flying Birds have some good songs, but it's not the same. And I didn't see Liam by himself, but he basically just did Oasis. But I think together that's where it's at, really. People saying they might not be as good, but I think it will be. Honestly, it'll be class.
How did you manage to get tickets?
I was actually away on holiday for a wedding in like Greece, and I was texting my mates because obviously the time difference and everything. So I was like, I'm never going to get a ticket here. And he managed to just get the pre-sale things, and I was super drunk when he rang me up, and I almost started crying. I was that happy. But I was just luck. Like I had like 4 or 5 people trying to get them at once. Obviously the queue I was in was like 15,000, so I had no chance. Total luck. But I'm buzzing. And it was £200 though. So,
yeah, I was at Brigtown when I was trying to buy mine, watching football with my mum.
So, with all these nice cakes you brought, what is your favourite cake?
Oh, it's just got to be something really chocolatey, I think. Just can't fail. Chocolate, gooey.
Chocolate brownie, yeah, I love a flapjack, like chocolate flapjack. But yeah, chocolate brownie's my favourite by far.
So recently, I've always wanted to go to Paris, and took the wife to Paris a couple of months ago, and like you go to different countries and they've all got like their the food that is special in those countries. Genuinely, like you go to a bakery in this country, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But the difference in a custard slice in Paris was unbelievable. Get yourselves to Paris. Get yourself a custard slice. Incredible scenes. Really, really nice. But you really taste the difference. You really taste the difference where you think, oh, it's just part of the, PR and stuff. You go to Paris. Yeah, it'll be like anywhere else in the world, but actually it was like, and maybe it was because I was in the middle of Paris, but I don't know, but it was...
different mind frame.
We're going to just wrap it up, so find a way of wrapping it up, guys.
Well, so that's all we've got time for today. Thank you for our discussions about everything that even sometimes don't need to be said about urinating.
Apologies.
Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, thanks. Obviously, we've got to give this opportunity to plug some of our socials. So I'll, if you go to follow Let's Get Better on TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. And then we also have the Humber and North Yorkshire Careers Hub on TikTok and Instagram as well. So check them out. We post a bunch of different videos on different things. If you're looking for careers in the NHS, we'll post daily on the Careers Hub Instagram, and then we link to the website so you can go and have a look, see how you would apply for a certain role. There's loads of stuff on there, and we've just done a lunch and learn webinar talking about how it works, so you can go and watch that, which should be put on the website as well, as will this podcast, and we might take some clips for the TikTok as well.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I think you've summed it up, Alex. To be honest, I think you've said everything I was going to say. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.